Happy New Year! I don't know about you, but I would like to keep hibernating for a few more weeks before I'm ready to actually plan my New Year. So I personally like to wait until Lunar New Year to do my visioning for the year, which falls on February 17th this year. It's the first new moon of the year, and I like to use new moons as an opportunity to create, plan, plant seeds, vision. So I invite you to reject the social norm of creating and getting after it in the dead of winter and join me in my protest. All you have to do is sit on the couch and relax. In the words of Trisha Hersey, rest is resistance. In today's newsletter, why women and mothers need to create space for emotional processing, meal planning ideas, some new recipes up on my website, and things I'm loving lately. Enjoy. Why women and mothers need to create space for emotional processing. There are moments in life that fracture us and leave us reeling. A pregnancy ends, a diagnosis arrives that no parent should ever hear, a loved one dies and the world keeps spinning anyway. A future you imagine disappears overnight. Even in the day-to-day of being a woman and a mother, we hold so much for our families. Absorbing the tension of two siblings screaming at each other, feeling embarrassment and frustration when a toddler melts down in public, the invisible burden of maintaining the household. In moments like these, many women do what they've been taught to do since childhood. Be strong, keep going, hold it together for everyone around you, think positively, be a nice, good girl. And while the mind might be able to rationalize what happened, the body does not speak in logic. The body speaks in sensation. A tight chest and shallow breath, a nauseous stomach and aching hips, exhaustion that sleep doesn't touch, anxiety, numbness, irritability, or despair that seems to come out of nowhere. Emotions are physiological. Every emotion you experience is first a bodily event. There is research showing that the neurochemical surge of an emotion lasts about 60 to 90 seconds when it is allowed to move through the body without interference. This idea is most commonly attributed to Dr. Jill Bolte Taylor, a neuroanatomist, who observed that once an emotional response is triggered, the chemicals released into the bloodstream are metabolized in roughly 90 seconds. However, most emotions don't end in 90 seconds because we don't actually let them complete. The initial physiological wave of an emotion includes stress and arousal chemicals such as adrenaline, cortisol, or norepinephrine. If a woman feels the sensation fully, stays present in the body, doesn't suppress, analyze, judge, or story make, and doesn't spiral into meaning or memory, the body can process that wave in about a minute to a minute and a half. The body knows how to complete the cycle. However, emotions often aren't experienced this way. They extend beyond 90 seconds when the mind re-triggers the body with thoughts, old memories are layered on top of the current experience, the nervous system doesn't feel safe enough to discharge, or the emotion is tied to unresolved trauma or attachment wounds. In other words, the physiological experience of the emotion ends, but the loop continues. Grief, fear, rage, and despair are not one single emotion. They are often many waves of emotions arriving back to back. Especially with profound loss, miscarriage, the illness of a loved one, death or loss, the body may need to process many 90-second cycles over days, months, or years, each one releasing a layer, not the whole thing. This is why feel it and it will pass can feel invalidating. Telling someone who's in deep grief that emotions only last 90 seconds can feel dismissive because the experience is cumulative. A more accurate truth is each wave is brief. The ocean takes time, especially when we've been shoving those waves down for years. What happens when you don't move emotions through the body? When emotions don't get to move through the body, they don't disappear. They lodge themselves into your tissues, nervous system, organs, and breathing patterns. Women's bodies are especially sensitive, intuitive, cyclical, and relational. We are designed to feel deeply and to metabolize those feelings through sensation, sound, tears, shaking, warmth, rest, and connection. When we bypass the body, we bypass healing. Grief, sadness, and anger that isn't felt becomes something else. Chronic anxiety, projections onto our children who feel and express whatever we cannot. Depression that feels chemical but is deeply somatic. Autoimmune symptoms, digestive issues, hormonal disruption. Emotional reactivity with our partners and children. Disconnection from pleasure, intimacy, intuition, and joy. Grief, loss, and trauma are not meant to be worked through only by talking about them. Words matter, but they are not enough. In the communication between body and mind, only 20% of the puzzle is mind to body. 80% is body to mind. So dealing somatically with the body is much more powerful and crucial. The body needs space to complete what was interrupted. Avoiding our feelings. Many women fear that if they slow down and feel, they will drown. I felt this fear for many years, which is what led me to alcoholism, overworking, and filling my mind and calendar with nonstop doing. However, emotions don't overwhelm us because they're too big. They overwhelm us when we try to hold them alone, silently, and indefinitely. When emotions are felt with support, safety, and in small titrated ways, the nervous system actually relaxes and allows the emotion to move through us. With consistent practice, the body learns, I can feel this and survive. I don't have to brace forever. I'm allowed to soften. This is how resilience is rebuilt, moving from pushing through and ignoring our feelings to letting the body express and move through what it's been holding. Your body has its own intelligence. Your body knows the way back to wholeness. Think about a child. They let their emotions move through their bodies and they express what they are feeling naturally. Over time, they learn to suppress what they are feeling because it isn't deemed socially appropriate. Living in our current society, this is a necessary progression. Is it healthy? The jury's still out on that one, but for now, it is what it is. Given we've all learned how to suppress, repress, and avoid our feelings, it takes time to allow the body to remember its innate wisdom. We can do that through somatic and emotional clearing practices that help the nervous system feel safe enough to allow one emotional wave at a time, complete the body's stress response, and return to regulation more easily. Over time, the body learns that it is safe to feel without being overwhelmed and to stop bracing and soften. This is how we feel to heal. And when women heal, they don't just feel better. They become more present mothers, partners, leaders, and humans. They turn into peaceful and loving spaces in which others feel safe to feel and heal. They model healthy emotional intelligence so their children can learn through mirror neurons what it looks like to let your body process its emotional experience. An invitation. If you are carrying something heavy, whether it is recent or long past, you do not have to carry it alone. There is a way to let the body participate in your healing, to move grief without rushing it, and to honor loss without being defined by it. This is the heart of my emotional clearing work, creating a safe, grounded space where the body can do what it already knows how to do: release, regulate, and restore. If this speaks to you, book an emotional clearing session. Your first session is $99 with code MOTHER, all caps. With so much love, Kara. Meal planning ideas. I'm always looking for new recipes that are healthy, easy to prepare, and delicious. What works for our household is to make dishes in bulk. I will often double or triple a recipe so we have leftovers. Here are some of my go-tos for breakfast and how I like to plan for lunch and dinner. I'm including a link to this blog post in the notes. New recipes. I put 3 new recipes up on the blog. Check them out. Protein oat pancakes with stewed cinnamon apples, easy miso ramen, breakfast chia pudding. The links to these recipes are below in the notes. Things I'm loving. I love this app, Brain FM, for focusing or relaxing. It holds patents on technology to elicit strong neural phase locking, allowing populations of neurons to engage in various kinds of coordinated activity. If you're familiar with binaural beats, it works similarly. Their music is unique, designed to steer you into a desired mental state, and it's great for anyone with ADHD too. I like this desktop notepad from Ink and Vault for planning my week. My process is on Sundays or Monday mornings. I brain dump everything I can think of to do for the week in various categories onto this notepad. So for me, my categories are my business, my day job, personal, home, relationships, and my dog. Then I will open up my digital calendar and add calendar blocks for each item and cross them off the notepad once I put them in my calendar. This process inevitably has me confront how much of my to-do list I won't have time for this week, so it has me prioritize things. It also has me thinking in advance about certain things like driving time to get to appointments or how I'm going to feel each day in terms of my exercise routine or social routine. So I kind of go back and forth between the dashboard and my digital calendar to try to fit things into my schedule. And whatever I don't get in, I save for the next week. And then once I've moved something several times from week to week, then I need to make the decision, like, is this actually a priority for me? Am I actually going to do it, or am I going to let it go? Finally, I will open up my paper planner and I add each item that I plug into my digital calendar onto my to-do list for each day of the week. My paper planner has a column for each day of the week, and I use that paper to-do list in my planner plus my digital calendar in tandem, checking off items from my paper planner while using my digital calendar to determine the exact time I'm going to be doing the item. This 3-step process really works for me because it has me confront my limitations in time. I always have more to do than the time to do it. It prioritizes what matters most, and it reduces any anxiety or overwhelm about what there is to do because I know exactly what I'm going to do and when I'm going to do it. I keep things flexible. I move things from one day to the next, and over time, I've learned how to gauge how much time things will take me so I can plan better. If you're interested in learning more about this planning process and would like a more detailed description with maybe some photos or videos, you can reply back and let me know. I would love to reach more women who need my support. So if you know anyone who might enjoy or benefit from this newsletter, please forward them this email. Your endorsement means the world to me. My mission is creating heaven on earth. I support conscious moms in their emotional wellness so they can live joyfully, break cycles, and raise a thriving society. If you've been forwarded this link, there's a link in the notes to sign up for the newsletter. I hope you have a wonderful week and take good care.